Hello, I'm DerTebbers, and this is your Flight Simulator X plane spotlight of the Vickers VC10. This particular mod set only comes in Air Force or RAF livery. There's no livery for commercial carriers. You can download livery packs or livery skins to go on this mod, I think. I saw a couple of them. It might not be exactly this mod, but you can get some livery packs for BOAC and British Airways. Anyway, we're here in London. Heathrow, believe it or not. This is Heathrow. The old Heathrow, as FSX believes it to be. The Vickers VC10 is a long-range British airliner designed and built by Vickers Armstrong and first flown at Brooklands in 1962. So she is a progenitor of the 707, well, the 727 era, sort of that era. It's designed to operate on long-distance routes from short runways of the era. Demanded excellent hot and high performance for operations from African airports. No virtual cockpit. Sad day. Let's get ourselves a cockpit. Please hold. There's our cockpit. The performance of the VC10 was such that it achieved the fastest London to New York crossing of the Atlantic by a jet airliner, a record that's still held today for subsonic travel. How about that? Starting up our 4 engines. Get them all started up. The VC-10 and the larger Soviet Ilyushin IL-62 are the only airliners with that distinctive rear quad-engine tail layout. Oh, look at that. A little puff of smoke coming off the back. Very nice. Very nice. Although only a relatively small number of the VC-10s were built, they provided long service with BOAC and other airlines from the 60s to 81. They were also used from 1965, strategic airlifters for the Royal Air Force, and their ex-passenger models and others were used as aerial refueling tankers. They've only recently been retired. All right, I think I have a little bit of flap going on. There we go, there's some flaps. All right, let's get back in our cockpit. Do we have all engines spooled? No, we got engines 1 and 2. All right, we'll keep talking. It has a generous wing equipped with a wide chord Fowler flaps and full span leading edge slats for good takeoff and climb performance. This was extremely necessary for achieving that hot, high performance they needed for Africa. Its rear engines gave an efficient, clean wing, and they also reduced cabin noise. If you've ever flown on an MD-80 or DC-9 series jet, that's the DC-9, the MD-80, 88, MD-90, or 717, you'll understand the difference when you transit from that to a full under-wing engine aircraft. The noise is definitely different. Additionally, the placement of those engines, I think we almost have full power now. The placement of those engines kept them farther from the runway surface. This is important when you're operating from the rough runways that are common in Africa. Additionally, if I can pan down a little bit here, some wide, low-pressure tires were used to reduce the impact on the runway. All right, we're on board. Pop those brakes loose. All right, let's go for it. Okay, I'm going to bring those engines up and stabilize them a little bit first. There we go. All right, we're powering up our 4 Rolls-Royce Conway MK301 turbofans. They produce 22,500 pounds of thrust each. That's about 100.1 kilonewtons. For those of you that want it in kilonewtons. The VC-10 was capable of landing and taking off at a slower speed than the 707, and its engines could produce considerable more thrust. We might almost have liftoff here. Nope, maybe not. But we're kind of deviating. Deviation. What's going on here? We gonna take off yet? There we go. Maybe. I think that front wheel's coming off the deck. Oh, hey, hello. There she goes, as I'm going to veer it off the runway, but whatever. That's just me doing a terrible job of flying, as per usual. All right, there she goes. Let's retract those flaps. Probably not going to be landing this aircraft, I'm just saying. The onboard avionics and flight technology was super advanced at the time. Quadruplicate automatic flight control systems, called a super autopilot, was intended to make fully automatic zero visibility landings. Is that not a crazy looking aircraft taking off there? Capacity was up to 135 passengers in a two-class configuration. Vickers designer Sir George Edwards is said to have stated that this plane was the sole viable option unless he were to reinvent the 707. And despite misgivings on operating costs, BOAC ordered 25 of these aircraft. Now, Vickers calculated it would need to sell 80 VC10s at about 1.75 million pounds each to break even. That didn't really happen. Additionally, flight tests revealed a serious drag problem. This was dealt with by adopting what's called the Kuchermann wingtips and beaver tail engine nautical flarings. I kid you not, we name things after weird animals. There's the beaver tail right back there, if you can see between the engines. There's beaver tails. As well as redesigning the basal rudder segment for greater control effectiveness. This caused additional flight testing time. The first Super VC10 flew in '64. Although it was sort of a minor development, it had extra fuel tanks in the fin, and each engine pair was moved 11 inches, that's 27 centimeters outboard, as well as up, and given a 3-degree twist. You'll notice that these ones look like they are twisted ever so slightly. That's probably because this is a Super. I kind of checked it out a little bit before I started recording. It looks like a Super based on that alone. I was like, oh, I see a runway. No, that's London City. That would be a really bad idea. The redesign resolved tailplane buffeting and fatigue issues occurred by operating the reverse thrusters. You can imagine when you pop out your reverse thrusters, you're going to get some buffet that's going to smack that tailplane, and that's going to cause potential fatigue problems. Not a good thing. You don't want to fatigue it. Prior to that, only the outboard engines could have reverse thrusters. The inboards could not because they actually would hit the tailplane. After this design change, they were able to put reverse thrusters on all four engines so the aircraft would be able to operate like the 707 and reverse thrust all four engines. VC-10 was immensely popular in the BOAC fleet, both with passengers and crew. Trying to kind of fly the aircraft. It was particularly praised for its comfort and low cabin noise level. BOAC, which later did become British Airways, obtained higher load factors with the VC-10 than any other aircraft in its fleet. People wanted to fly this plane. In addition to strategic transport road, the VC-10 routinely served in aeromedical evacuation and VIP roles. In the VIP role, the aircraft was commonly used by both members of the British royal family, such as during Queen Elizabeth II's bicentennial tour of America, and by several British prime ministers. Margaret Thatcher reportedly insisted on flying on the VC-10. Crew was 4 plus 3 flight attendants. Maximum speed was 580 miles per hour, that is 933 kilometers an hour, for those of you that need that, and range was 5,850 miles, that's 9,412 kilometers. One of only 2 aircraft, remember, that have this unique rear tailplane design. Many of you wanted me to do this, at least a few of you did. This one is actually in a refueling mode. Notice the little bits on each wing, which I'm sure you guys have seen. It is a refueling aircraft. Can I land at that airport? Probably not, but we can try. No, let's not. I'm going to go back to the, I'm not going to land the aircraft. We're going to do that. For those of you that are looking for another 60s airliner, the only downside is there's no virtual cockpit, and that is kind of sad here. But if you're looking for a VC10, this is a nice looking VC10. Someone probably will come out with a virtual cockpit at some point. It is an important aircraft for British aviation. And to my recollection, other than Concorde, one of the last semi-successful jetliners that was built by the British aerospace industry, now building pieces of Airbus. All right, until next time, I'm going to go and try to land this plane somewhere, but I'm probably going to crash it, and you don't need to see that. You just know I'm going to crash it. Until next time, I've been DerTebbers. This has been your Flight Simulator X plane spotlight of the Vickers VC10. The link is down below in the description. As always, until next time, happy flying, and somebody find me a runway, please. Somebody.